Good evening or afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another tropical forecast, and we're going to continue to talk about what I did briefly yesterday. I'm going to continue to focus on Theta and Eta as well. Invest 98L as the chances for it becoming a tropical storm Iota increase as we get in the next few updates here. It's already at a 30% chance for the next 48 hours and still at an 80% chance now for the next 5 days. So the 48-hour chance is really starting to increase quite frequently that we've seen the past few advisories, but we're going to continue to watch 98L. It seems if it's going to be possibly another threat towards Central America, which would be very unfortunate, as it's going to possibly head for areas that just got hit by Eta just under a week ago, or just under 2 weeks ago. So that's just really going to be unfortunate for Central America, but there's still a chance it could avoid Central America. So that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today. Going to be looking at the possibilities and tracks and strength for all three of these systems here. So yeah, be sure to stay tuned for all that. Subscribe if you're new, hit the like button as well if you really enjoy the video, and hit the post notification icon if you really want to get notifications right when I post a video, so you get the most accurate and frequent and recent data. But yeah, without further ado, let's go to the video. Alright guys, so here's looking at the National Hurricane Center. As you do see, Theta never became a hurricane, surprisingly. So Theta right there at 60 miles an hour, so now it's weakening. So it was at 70 miles an hour. It basically looked like it was really going to become a hurricane. But I guess due to it actually now going to this really cold waters now up here in the northeastern Atlantic, it just weakened a lot sooner than I thought it would. But there it is at 60 miles an hour. Pressure now at 992 millibars. Yesterday at this time, Theta had pressure lower than Eta, but now that Eta strengthened and Theta did the opposite, it actually weakened. And Tropics Storm Eta was actually a hurricane this morning, but now it's at 70 miles an hour. We actually now having a threat now for areas just north of Tampa Bay, including Isla, Florida, there near the Big Bend. So this will not be making landfall in the Panhandle. So it went from no panhandle to panhandle to no panhandle. So I mean, it's probably we're gonna get what we expect now, since it is a lot closer here, and it's actually now heading back for areas just north of Tampa and St. Petersburg. Pressure at 992 for Theta and moving north or east-northeast at 13 miles an hour, and it's moving north at 12 miles an hour. So Eta is going to be not making landfall until the next few hours there, since it is moving north and not east-northeast, where it actually be making landfall a lot sooner. And then we got Iota, most likely 80% chance for the next 5 days there. There it is, 80% chance, disturbance number 1. And it has now a 30% chance for the next 48 hours. So obviously chances for the next 48 hours are really starting to increase there as well as the next 5 days. But there it is. There is our tropical storm Eta. As you can tell, it's really open now, since it is starting to really weaken due to those really cold waters there. So it is entering those cold waters that we expected to weaken the system, which it obviously is. But this low pressure is a lot more open now. You can kind of see, though, you can still see that banding structure, though. You can still see the counterclockwise spin there, as well as the outflow right there. There's obviously the nice outflow. You can really see it, that nice outflow stretching all the way from the areas of the Big Bend already. And this is actually starting to bring some really strong thunderstorms, and actually the outer walls and the outer bands all the way up to St. Petersburg already, Tampa. Still having the far southern outer bands still affecting areas like Naples, and we're having the far northern outer bands already affecting like areas up to Jacksonville. You can see a lot of convection right here, and obviously we're seeing blows of convection here as well in these outer bands. That's going to really bring in some really strong thunderstorms here, and a lot of flooding, and even some slight tornado risk threats there. But there it is, that low pressure right there. There's the eye wall, which obviously has really been falling apart lately. So this system shouldn't be a big threat towards Florida. Nothing like they haven't seen before. And you just see it's going to continue to weaken, heading for landfall. Tropical storm warnings extend all the way up near the Big Bend area, or not Big Bend, but all the way up north of Tampa, all the way down near the Naples area. So we're seeing a lot of the west coast of Florida and the Gulf Coast that having some type of alert there, and that's going to be tropical storm warnings in the blue, and then we have tropical storm watches in the Big Bend area there. But the wind field is quite large, and it was like 3 times smaller than it was. Well, it's 3 times bigger than it was yesterday, and that's because obviously it was really strengthening and became a 75-mile-an-hour hurricane. I mean, these tropical storm winds literally extend all the way where those tropical storm warnings end, and they're starting to arrive right here. So that's a pretty large wind, but that's around 200, 300 miles there. Or not really, that's actually around maybe 200 miles, not 300. That's way less than 300. But it is expected to still be a tropical storm by Thursday. Actually go straight over Jacksonville. But obviously going to bring in some harsh conditions as well for the Okefenokee swamp there in Georgia and Florida borderline. And going to be all the way a post-tropical depression by Saturday. So this will still be a depression all the way up until the weekend. But it's going to probably bring in some light to moderate rain off the Carolinas there. But not going to become a new system, or it's not going to revive in the Atlantic as it would if it was in July or September. But obviously we have really, really cold waters here. We actually have teens in Celsius off the mid-Atlantic, so this has no chance to survive after it makes landfall there. But you do see we kind of have a lot of model ingredients all heading for areas just north of Tampa, the metro area. And none are going to go kind of necessarily through Georgia, but it's going to go kind of riding the Georgia coast and then going to start separating itself from land at that point. And at that point, it's going to go all the way up near where the far northern Atlantic there. But let's check out now 98L. This is kind of my main concern here. This is what I think is going to be the main topic. And this is kind of my main topic that it's been in my live stream, in my videos. I'm kind of more concerned for 98L than Eta or Theta. Obviously, Theta wouldn't be a threat at all because it's not going to be making landfall in Europe as a tropical system. Probably be extratropical at that point. But I'm really worried about Iota, which is soon to be Iota. Not only could the chances in the are really increasing, but because it has a chance to really blow up before hitting Central America. Well, it's not a guarantee to hit Central America, but it's very well likely to hit Central America, and we don't want to see that because they just got hit by Eta in monsters Category 4. What I think was a Category 5, so I'm going to say it was a Category 5 in very poor areas, and we can't afford to have 2 weeks later another, not necessarily a monster storm, but a system that hits the same areas and with no time to recover. Obviously, it was a catastrophic system. What it did. Not only for the coast, but inland. We can't afford to have another system. Even the same season, if they're the monsters Category 5 in July, and then we're in November, we still can't afford to have a system just like that. But this is 2 weeks later. It's like Laura and Delta, obviously. They weren't too close time-wise, but they were obviously devastation. And there was devastation, obviously, a lot easier because of Laura and Delta, how they both hit the same area. Same thing here, except Central America. And I'm really concerned because convection is really starting to blow up here. You can really see a lot of convection really blowing up right here in the eastern side there. But that low pressure is kind of right there. So you are starting to see some convection wrapping around there. You are starting to see some convection, a lot more convection on the western side than yesterday here. You can kind of see a lot more convection on the western side than yesterday. But, of course, the eastern side is a lot more organized there. But low pressure, of course, right there. It's starting to get kind of covered up. So is there a possible LLC that's going to be happening in the next few days? That's exactly what people predict or what models predict. And not only will this be a tropical storm, this has a chance to become a hurricane. So we do not want a hurricane as well. A hurricane would just be 10 times worse than a tropical storm. But even if it was just a tropical storm at landfall, which definitely probably won't be because it has all these warm waters to blow up here. And then obviously Eta, for example, blew up in this little time frame right here, in this little area of pockets of water. It blew up there, and it skipped 5 categories, or it jumped 4 categories in less than 24 hours, and it has all this, so I think it could definitely become a hurricane. And not only a hurricane, but possibly even, it had a chance to become a major hurricane. This could be our last chance to see a major hurricane this year, so this is our last shot to have another major hurricane. So the storms after this, they probably have a very small chance to get to a major hurricane status. But this could be the last shot to get another major this season. But as you see, the GEFS gets it to 984 millibars. But they take it a lot more to the north in global models. They have it going all the way up, making landfall on Honduras. It's kind of a little bit weirder, a little bit more to the north than Eta. Obviously, Eta was kind of like, Eta was kind of more like this here. It's kind of like that. And then it made landfall here. That's kind of what Eta did, obviously, right there. Eta, bum. That's kind of what Eta's going to do there. And obviously very weird. This is obviously based on the GEFS. It's a lot more north, but it's expected to go southward, so that's going to bring in and raising concerns for Nicaragua. But they have to go all the way that way, which I don't necessarily expect or agree with. But let's check out other model track guidance. The ABNI is basically showing almost exactly what Eta did. Obviously, Eta made landfall kind of more like right there, but still, it's kind of like do the same thing where it goes south right before landfall. But the AMI is obviously agreeing with the GFS. But we only have 3 models on this, since this is still a rather new system. But yeah, ABNI and AEMI, both that get it to the Central America. CEMI still way far out, not even past 24 hours in. So 2 out of the models are actually pretty far out. 2 out for 2, so Central America. And even if it doesn't hit Nicaragua, it hits Honduras, that's still going to be devastating because Honduras got really harsh impacts as well. And they got obviously a lot of landslides and all of that. And intensity guidance, now that we have more models kind of getting on the system, we kind of have a better idea what they are showing. So now we have 4 models out of the, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 out of the 6 have to get into at least a Category 1. So 4 out of the 6 get into a hurricane, and that's just not a good sign. Yesterday, I believe it was 2 out of 3. No, yesterday was 2 out of 4 that got to a hurricane. Now we have 4 out of 6. So we're kind of seeing an increasing chance. More models are now, the more models we get, the more are going to get to a hurricane, obviously. But that's showing that there's a very good chance that this could get to a hurricane. Earliest model, ship gets it to a hurricane as early as 84 hours. And then the latest gets it to a hurricane by, that's the AV9, by 144 hours. So we only have one getting to a Category 2, but we also have another one getting to a strong Category 1. So these two are seem to get it really rather strong. I would not rule out the possibility for a Category 2. I would not rule out the possibility for a Category 3. And I say this because of those extremely warm waters still in the Western Caribbean. I mean, this storm is still south of Hispaniola, and it has all that water before Central America. And if Eta and Delta, Marco blew up in a really small time frame with these exact same waters, I believe this system has such a huge area that it has to RI at some point. It's going to the exact same waters where almost every storm that's moving these waters this year have RI'd. Delta, obviously you can't name all of them. The only one I can really name that hasn't really RI'd was Gamma, whatever, however you pronounce it. That was kind of the only storm this year that has gone through the Western Caribbean that hasn't RI'd. Obviously you had Delta, Marco was really 5 miles an hour from RIing officially, as well as Eta. Zeta was basically almost RI there. Basically did, but a very minimal one. But yeah, that's why I think that Iota can be a very bad storm. Not only because it's going to make landfall in Central America where air just got hit, but because it's going to get pretty strong at that point, in my opinion. But here is what we have for Theta. They get a national hurricane and has it kind of moving very slowly kind of westward, or northeastward, and then kind of start going more east. And it looks like if you stop midway, it looks like it's going to hit Morocco or Portugal, but then it's going to go a sharp northern turn, due north turn, and that's exactly how it's going to avoid Portugal, and that's exactly how it's going to avoid really areas that's going to become a prime area. And the path, it just won't be a big threat because it will be extra tropical by then, and that's exactly why you don't really see hurricanes hitting these areas, because of those really cold waters. You do see they kind of go into east-northeast, and then by the time they get 72 hours, they go straight up, shooting right north. So even if it shoots north, it could still hit Portugal. You do see Spain getting hit by the AV9. CEMI is getting it to Portugal near Lisbon. But, I mean, it's still, even if it makes a slight landfall, it's not going to be major whatsoever. Wow, my screen's way too big. Here, let's actually move it a bit more down. There we go. That's better. But GFS, the 18T is just loading, so this is really accurate, or should be the most accurate out of today, obviously, for GFS. Obviously, let's focus on Eta first. They get to 1,002 millibars before landfall, so they get it really dying before landfall, so it's going to be really weak for Florida there. But you see they have now 98L in the next 12 hours here. No, that's in the next 18 hours, getting at 1,008 millibars. So really very close to forming soon. 1,008 millibars is just getting very close to tropical storm status there. And then they have going to 998 in the next 84 hours, 988 in the next 96 hours. It's really starting to blow up there. 976 in 114 hours and 969. That is worth Category 3 status, and that is not something you want to see. That is just not something you want to see. An area that just got hit. Obviously, it's taking it to Honduras, where obviously Eta made landfall here. That's a big difference, but still, this part of Honduras still got hit really hard, especially with the large winds field. And if it's gonna if it's gonna go southward, that means it's gonna go here, exactly where the system was at its hardest when it was inland still. I mean, look at that, 967. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly why I think Iota could be a very big threat, because it's gonna have to RI somewhere. I mean, if Delta and Eta RI is such such a major RI, and you think about it, they RI in a really small pocket of water, and this system literally has all the way from here, to here. It has plenty of time here. I mean, that's a plenty of time to RI. That's exactly why I think this could be a big threat here. Let's check out this the 12Z by CMC. CMC also getting Eta in the four digits before making landfall. CMC has 98L, not even becoming tropical storm there, which is pretty shocking there. Let's check out the Icon 18Z. Icon shows a bit stronger, 1,000 millibar landfall for Florida, and Icon gets now the 98L to 981 millibars, but it seems as if it's getting it to avoid areas like Nicaragua and Honduras. Like I did say, there's still a chance this could avoid Nicaragua, or there's still a chance this could avoid these areas where Eta made landfall, or it has a chance to avoid Central America completely. Like I did say yesterday, as you guys saw in my video, I said there's a chance that it could do this, or it could do this. I mean, there's still a chance for that. Obviously, it's a lot less likely, but that's still possible, especially if it RIs a lot sooner, or if it does RI, then that kind of drive it more northward, where it could still avoid Central America at this point. It's still a possibility. It's just not the most likely. And I say that it could RI, obviously, and it can really strengthen and be major because look at these waters here. I mean, this seems all the way over here, and it's going to go all the way over here. Look at all these 29, 30 degrees Celsius here. Eta, for example, blew up in a small little area. Delta blew up in a small little area. And this has all of this. It's basically 4 or 5 times bigger than that. So I do think this could be a big system to keep in mind. And obviously, Theta will obviously really die because those really cold waters off Europe. And then as well, Theta is going to really start to weaken quite quickly because those really rapidly cooling waters in the Gulf. Bye, guys.